And 3, 2, 1, boom. And we're back with another episode of Socratic Gamers. This is Socratic Dialogue. We are back at it after a little recap of Egypt, cool things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was one of our coolest podcasts to date.
Oh, yeah?
I even wrote that in like the share thing. I was like, one of our most epic podcasts.
Huh.
But I thought, yeah, just because pyramids are so epic.
Right.
Yeah. So this is a nerd recap. We're just going to be checking out things that we thought while I was gone. Some cool stuff got released. Trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All that fun stuff. So first on the docket, we got Death Stranding. It just came out yesterday?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. So if you want to check it out, Vish streamed some of the game.
Well, just an hour
Just an hour.
of it.
So we're
Last
going to
night.
get his initial impressions on Death Stranding. Go.
Initial impressions?
Yeah, what do you think? Or like, what'd you do? I don't know. Give me a little update.
So, still a lot confused. Don't know what I'm doing yet because it's all in the 1 hour that I played, I think a lot of that was cutscenes
Oh, okay.
that we know of
okay,
since
so-
Kojima does that.
So did you see the I saw this thing like on Facebook. It said like Kojima's gonna start doing movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so makes sense if this was like a giant cutscene. So it was like an hour-long cutscene.
No,
So you
no,
basically
not
made
an
it
hour
for a
long. I
movie.
did have a little bit of like gameplay, but I didn't really do much other than just walking around and picking up the delivery things that dropped.
Okay.
that
So
fell.
what is the like initial premise about? Like what's the game? Do we know yet or no?
Well, I did watch the reviews and things, so what we do know
But
is
I mean for like you, like what did you learn?
yet nothing.
Oh, literally nothing? So like it just like started
Yeah,
you spent an
lit-
hour doing like nothing and the game hasn't even begun. No like title screen?
well, there's a title screen in the beginning,
Oh, okay.
but then we'd like to know what I'm doing yet. I don't know yet, other
Or
than
like what the story's about, all that stuff.
right now in the game, no.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so a full hour in it still leaves you in the dark.
Yeah, like it just kind of really just started.
So is it a super long game? I know you said like 50 hours, but that's like a
In
relative
this,
50?
okay, so it depends on how you want to look at it. So if you want to just do the story, you probably could finish that. Maybe I don't know if that's exactly 30 hours or not, but like something it'll be less than that. But like to get
That's
it
still
fully
pretty long.
completed, I would say some they were saying it's like about 50 hours because it's like a the joke that's going around is more like a walking simulator because you're trying to deliver. You're not really walking all the time, but like you are.
That's so funny. A walking sim. I've never heard of a game like that before, but that's pretty jokes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's like you're doing deliveries and things. So you don't have to do all those side missions if you don't have to.
Right.
But for some people that really did enjoy that kind of thing will enjoy this a lot.
Okay, cool.
Um,
To put that into perspective,
Mhm.
Uncharted is like an 8-hour game,
yeah,
and like we finished that in one night.
yeah.
I fell asleep every time we tried to do it, but yeah, I remember finishing that one night. So like, but that was a long game. You know, we ran through that game too. It was like on easy mode, and still took us the whole
Yes.
night. So
Yeah,
like
like the
3 nights of that, like
Yeah.
you know, that's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, and that one was like a linear game too. Whereas I'm sure this one's like you said it was open world.
Yeah,
So-
it's kind of like open world. Yeah, you're
Pseudo open
basically
world.
like this is from the reviews. So you're basically trying to connect all of America together, right?
Oh, okay, cool.
After whatever has
But
happened.
you know what's weird about like the term open world? If you go back to like when video games first started, open world literally meant open world, where it's like we're not going to tell you where things like Final Fantasy VII, open
Yeah.
world. We're not going to tell you where things are. You got to remember where it is, and if you don't remember, you got to search the goddamn whole world.
Yeah.
You know, but like open world today is like waypoints. So it's like it's an
Mhm.
open world, but you got a waypoint. So it's like we're just going to show you where to go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but the reason those things have happened is probably because there's a lot of complaints. Like, where do we go? Like that's.
I guess, but
It,
I
it,
kinda
it,
like
it could
that
mean
old school
yeah, but it could mean two
gaming.
things, right? Even old school, it's like you're making these games for the first time, so you don't know what works and what doesn't
oh,
work.
like in terms of UX.
Yeah, like you're accepting it as if that's how it should be.
Right. I
But
see what you're
then
saying. Yeah,
maybe
yeah, sure,
that's
sure.
just like in these designs we didn't think about these sort of things.
So I wonder if like in terms of difficulty, the games are getting simpler, but in terms of dexterity, the games are getting more difficult. So do you get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
there's more buttons now,
Mhm.
so that's what makes it difficult. But like in terms of difficulty to figure things out, that's like laxing. So it's more about your skill versus your critical thinking.
Right.
You know, well, I guess there's critical thinking when you play new video games. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of them, so, like sometimes what happens, I mean, especially with bigger games, it's like if you played enough games, it just becomes
Second
you
nature,
know
totally,
what you're
totally,
doing.
totally.
Kinda, yeah.
But
Without them telling you.
I feel like we grew up in like the perfect point of like no technology and technology. So it's like you kind of learn how to like learn, whereas like people who have actually that's hard to say because I didn't grow up with tech. Well, I grew up with tech during my adolescence, but not like babies now they can use iPads.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what
I mean,
So-
they're
so,
even
like,
more better than us.
So
Yeah.
they might be more better, or they won't know how to problem solve like problems. They'll be like, "How come this tech's not working? It should be working correctly from the jump." You know what I'm saying? But we went through the iterations where it's like we saw the incremental improvements. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So
it
like we had to
depends.
learn how to problem solve. So it's like if the modem's not working, it's like okay, what can I do to figure out how to fix this modem?
I still think
you
that
know?
that is there with new tech.
You think like it's still like it's not making people like lazy with tech?
I think it can be for some, but I think there are areas where if people do go in that direction, there's a lot more things to learn as well. Like there are some new
I
tech
suppose.
that
Yeah, I
you
hear
would
what you're saying. I hear what
still,
you're saying.
yeah, like the things I was doing on Twitch with the commands, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like how you would pop up. Like those are some things you would need to kind of. It's not you're not doing much to do at it, but it's like where do you go and add that? You're kind of learning on your own, right?
But what I'm saying is like
But those are all for new people.
Growing up in the age where you had to learn tech in our adolescence, it's
Yeah.
like it's second nature to figure it out. But it's like if you are born into tech, my question is, do you take it for granted? So you expect like a specific level of UX, user experience.
Yeah,
I think is
maybe
the
it might
word.
depend. If you have Apple, maybe that's what you're
But
thinking.
that's true though. That's why
Yeah.
there are courses called UX, right?
Yeah.
You're developing systematic ways that are intuitive for people. But like there was no intuitiveness when we were younger because everything was new. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you had to relearn multiple different platforms
Mhm.
because everything was different.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there wasn't like a standard pair. Like if you see now, I guess like that's making it better. But like if you see now today, like the power button symbol is like
Yeah.
the same generally. You know what I mean? Like if you see that logo, you're like, oh, this must be power, or like, oh, if I push the center button, I must go to the home screen.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
that is
It just reminds me of like the book I'm reading, the Permanent Record, the Edward Snowden book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he talks a lot about that stuff and like how because he's like only a few years older than us. He was saying that like his generation is the hackers because
Yeah.
they had to learn how to
Right.
hack
Yeah,
use this
yeah,
like
yeah.
when things just came
Well, yeah,
out,
that
so they had
was
to relearn it,
that's the
right?
thing. Yeah, like that was everything was new for us, right?
That's what I'm saying. So it's
Yeah.
like we're the hacker generation
Yeah.
where it's like, all right, learn it,
Mhm.
versus like, how come it doesn't work?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the generation of today is like, how come it doesn't work?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it should be up to my UX expectations and standards. Whereas before it was like there were no expectations and standards. It was the Wild West, so it's like you had to learn on the fly.
Right.
You know, that's what made us hackers.
Right.
But anyways, yeah. So Death Stranding.
Oh yeah. So I mean, yeah, only an hour in. It's still lots to see, lots to learn. And what really am I doing in this world? That's what I'm still.
It's such a
having to
far
figure out.
departure from Kojima's original games. Like one of
Yeah.
the first games that really influenced me was Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid.
Right.
Not. It's not the. It's like Metal Gear Solid 3 or 4.
Mhm.
It wasn't the first Metal Gear Solid. So like when I first played Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation with like Solid Snake and stuff, that wasn't the first in the series. Apparently the first was a Game Boy game. And then if you go back and try and play it, it's like trash. But like all the characters are referenced from the original Game Boy game.
Mhm.
You know, that was his like masterpiece until he got like kicked out. Yeah.
Well, yeah. He was known for that, but that's. But then there are restrictions in his. Maybe he wanted. like this one is where he's just free to do what he wanted to do, right? Without any kind of real restrictions.
But it's funny because if you look at Metal Gear Solid Patriot, Sons of Our Patriots, with where they switched out Solid Snake for like this guy called Raiden, you could see, you know how it's like very sick and twisted?
Mm-hmm.
You could see that was already where it was going. Like he was trying to push Metal Gear Solid in a very sick and twisted way,
Mm-hmm.
which I found very interesting. Like that's what made the game very unique. But like, so a small example was near the end of the game when it was like, you've been playing too long. Turn it off, Jack. You know, I was like, what's going on? It was like psychological, and I freaked because it was like 3 a.m. I used to play video games like nonstop, and then like I shut it off because I was freaked out because I was like, wait, has the timer been going on too long? Or like, and then I played it again in the morning. It was like, it's the same thing. It was like, oh, okay, this is like Kojima's sick and twisted way of like, you know, and like the whole thing was about conspiracies of like our government's tricking us, but that was during that like 9/11 time period, you know.
Yeah.
So like it made
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this new one seems pretty sick and twisted as well. Not to say that he's sick and twisted, but like.
Yeah, but it's also I think the
time.
message also is about connecting. I feel like
Oh,
this,
really?
from what I'm getting from the interviews. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, even though it's that there's weird things happening or whatever, or it's like a weird world, but it's also about connecting after all.
Connecting back to who we are.
Yeah, and
So
I think so.
It's really cool. Chris Ryan. I don't know if you saw that Joe Rogan podcast with Chris Ryan. So I cut up the clip of it, and it was interesting because I totally agree with this. Actually, I was in the car when I heard him say it. I was like, yes, you get it. So like, the story of the hero's journey is like one of the ones that we all. It's like what every mythological story is based upon, where it's like you go away on this journey. You learn a bunch of things, then you come back home.
Yeah.
Right? And then you like take your new experiences, and then like you appreciate your life where you are. Right? So like he's saying that as society, we've been on our own journey, whereas like we've been pushing towards technology, right? We've been separating ourselves from nature.
Yeah.
But then if you look at where we are today in contemporary society, we're trying to get back to nature. You know? Like we're pushing towards like you know, like nature remedies, like more mental health days, you know, like people are hunting now, you know what I'm saying?
I would see this more for the Western
world, because we went on that departure and then we're coming back. You know, we left nature only to realize that we are nature, and to come back and like bring nature and what we think nature was together, you know. Technology and nature becoming one now, and it sounds like from the game that's where it's headed. I don't know.
Yeah,
because like we're all about separation, but now we're going back towards like.
I don't know yet. Maybe next time I'll tell you, but maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
That I think so. Yeah, but it's also like because of what's
like
happening.
Solar, like think about like green energy. You know, that's basically merging nature with.
Well, I don't know about.
Tech.
Yeah, I'm not.
We're going more towards that. Is what he's proposing.
Yeah,
I totally agree. It's like that's why Tesla is so popular.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not too sure if that's what he means, but like.
Kojima or this guy?
Yeah, the Kojima. I think it's more in the sense like today's time how we're we're arguing and shit a lot, separating
separating ourselves. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So like in that way, maybe I guess that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Like we went so far in the direction of separation, now we got to come back to like a communal thing. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. But overall, you like it so far?
At the moment, yeah. But,
that's cool.
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like my game that I want to play.
So,
but like,
that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, I don't think this is generally going to be for everyone.
Oh, really?
Or for maybe a lot of people.
Oh, really? Okay, true.
It's
not like a hack and slash, shoot 'em up.
No, it's not about that.
If you like waiting around, get this game.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to be it. Even though it's like a big mainstream, like a blockbuster type of game, but I feel like it's that with the feel of an indie.
Right.
Indiness to it. Because there's not a lot of like new kind of games going in this direction.
Okay. Cool.
So it's like to have, spend that kind of money to make something interesting or different.
Right.
Is not something that you see often. So that's kind of where I give it a lot of props, I guess, mainly to Sony.
Because it's like pioneering.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or else, yeah, yeah, well, yeah, I don't think it'll be generally for a lot of people, though.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, to circle back on the like leaving and then coming back home and then realizing like where you started is where you wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So even like we were talking about this before the podcast, but like it's interesting that prior to like when I was a kid, I was all into like bracelets and like all this stuff, like amulets. Like in Philippines, they call it like enting and tings, which are like special amulets that like protect you and stuff.
Right.
So like I was always on the search for that kind of stuff as like a kid. I always like wear things that like felt like they boosted me. Mm-hmm. Obviously placebo effect, right?
Yeah.
And then I went on that journey of like realizing, oh, nothing is real. Like life is just a story you tell yourself. Mm-hmm. So like there is nothing to these amulets,
right?
You know? And then now after
in the physical way,
in the actual like scientific sense, you know. But then like coming back now after like more exploration, it's like, okay, so if life is a story you tell yourself, then it's about the placebos that are going on. So it's like I start wearing them again. It's like yeah, because it was a placebo. I'm just tapping into the placebo power, but I know it's a placebo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's weird that we can do that to ourselves. We know it's not real, but like it gives us a sense of something which like supercharges our energy. It's like placebos are very real, you know.
Yeah.
But then that's the circling back. It's like you were there wearing that stuff, you left to be like, no, I don't need this stuff, to just come back and be like, oh well, I liked it,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the circle of life all the time. Like we're always trying to, like when we're kids, we're our purest self, and then over time you start adding these different layers of like, I gotta be this, I don't want to be this, and like, you know, these like these obstacles, and then you just jump back to who you were as a kid, which is unobstructed, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Anyways. So Knights of the Old Republic. It's not Knights of the Old Republic, it's a Jedi Order.
Is it Fallen Order?
I'm not sure. Let me just check. Jedi Fallen Order. Yes. So we checked that out. Oh, we saw the trailer for that. That's coming out this week?
Yeah, next Friday.
Cool.
Today is Saturday, so yeah, the Friday. Next Friday.
Yeah, so
1 week.
That it looks really good.
So I think for that, there's been a lot of, I think, wait for like a good Star Wars game, like story mode.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So this one looks like it's really good. I'm waiting on the reviews. Probably coming out next week, I would assume.
One of my favorite games of all time was Knights of the Old Republic. So this. So
which one was that one? Yeah.
It was like, I don't know if you were playing them at the time, but basically you created a guy. Well, there was like different versions of the game. So like,
is it online based or
no? It was like, why is this one online?
No.
No, it's like a story.
Okay.
And like basically you created a character, and then you had to remember who you were because you had amnesia.
Okay.
And then it turns out like you're like this Jedi or Sith Lord.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you had these like Jedi powers. You're like the chosen one or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like the gameplay was really cool because it was like open world, and you were like a Jedi, so you could use your powers, and like so like you'd be in a conversation and it would be like, do you want to use a Jedi mind trick right now?
Right.
And then like if you had unlocked that power,
Oh, I see.
you could be like, you can use your Jedi mind trick to like advance the conversation in a specific way.
Okay.
It was, think RPG, but like Star Wars, right? Like
Okay.
like kind of
Right,
like Witcher,
right.
kind of like Witcher,
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
the video game, but like Star Wars. So when I saw the trailer for this, I was like, oh, it looks the same, which I'm excited about because I wouldn't play it like, I don't know. I've turned my like life into like video game where it's like the things I'm creating are my video game now.
Mm-hmm.
So like I wouldn't find time for it.
Right.
But I'm stoked for this game. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm waiting. If the reviews are good, I will get it. It's just that EA is the one that's making the game, so not too sure.
Yeah, EA is the one who made the original Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, but EA's like in recent times have had a lot of issues.
Sloppiness.
Yeah.
Maybe they brought back the original team.
I don't know about that, but just in general.
No, I mean original team for Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but I don't know about that.
Oh. Yeah, they look really cool. You
It looked
like
cool. It looked cool. I do like that kind of like story mode kind of thing. So
yeah, me too.
so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Do we know any of the storyline for it?
No, I haven't really looked into that.
Oh, okay. From what the trailer is, it's like you're taking a stand. You're like a lost Jedi or something, or like trying to bring back the Jedi Order.
I think some. Yeah, it feels like that could be it. But other than that, like I don't know too much about the story. But there seems like to be a lot of hype around it, so
Yeah.
might do well. If it is good, I do want it to do well. Then we can get more of these kinds of things because there was. Like since Disney bought Star Wars, they've been trying to make games, and there was a game like a couple weeks ago that got canceled,
Right. Right.
and then something happened. Remember, like those guys, or even though like in the movie or something that's something to do with Star Wars. Then the guys that did Game of Thrones, like then they.
Oh yeah.
So,
They made like the last last season of Game of Thrones.
well, they made all the seasons of Game of Thrones.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then it was like it seemed really rushed because they were trying to
Yeah, and
jump
then,
to the Star Wars.
Exactly, and then all this, like now, they're out of that. They're not doing that Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, they.
Oh, no, I didn't see this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So they were.
So that sucks
I'm not sure if
because
they
they
were
like
let go of or just.
probably because they're like, oh, look at how crappy you made Game of Thrones.
Or maybe, or they didn't get a good
So-
story idea. I don't know. Not too sure which one
Wow.
it was, but like, something happened.
So they got booted off the project.
Yeah.
Wow, sucks.
I believe even some game was canceled too. I think.
See, that's the thing. You
month
gotta
ago.
always do your best in everything because you don't know how your terrible actions will affect you in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like last season of Game of Thrones was so trash,
Yeah, everyone says that,
And then-
and now we know why, and then
and then it's like, oh well, you got booted off your own project. Haha. You know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you tried to cut a corner, and then that just bit you in the end.
Mm.
Yeah. So fascinating. I was gonna say something.
But then, yeah, I'm excited to play. Again, I'm waiting for the reviews. Then I will get the game.
Yeah,
That's
that'd
what
be
I'm
cool.
thinking. Yeah.
I mean, but you still gotta beat Death Stranding,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
or you gotta beat Witcher.
I'll wait for the show.
Speaking of the show,
Yeah.
Netflix is dropping Witcher December.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see that. I think everyone's anticipation in that was waiting for that trailer and that voice. Is this voice gonna match
The video game.
what we played in the video game? Yeah.
And it did. When
It
I heard
did.
it too, I was like, but you know what's funny? Because I hated the voice in the video game. So when he used it, I was like, oh, god damn it.
So the thing is, what I learned like throughout the interviews as they were trying to promote all this in I think Comic-Con and stuff, this guy, Henry Cavill, right? Yeah, Henry
Yeah.
Cavill is a huge
Witcher fan?
Witcher fan.
Really?
He plays the games.
Wow.
He was the one that pushed for him
To be jacked?
to be chosen
Oh.
to play Gerald.
He wanted to
Or
be.
Geralt, which
So
one?
he was like, I'm going to petition for me to become
Yeah.
Gerald? Oh, sick.
Gerald.
That's cool. Is he a producer or anything?
I'm not too sure
Oh.
if he's on that, but they didn't really go to him first, so.
Oh, okay. Well, surprising. It's interesting that he's a big fan of it.
Yeah.
Because they said 7 seasons. I don't think you saw that, but
No,
I
I
saw the
didn't.
article. It's like the writers have 7 seasons worth of story. Like they've already created it, the
Right.
arc.
Okay.
So it's like if the first one does well, then they can continue on. Like it's sort of like you know that everything's going to be tied together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you've written 7 seasons worth, then you know that it's all linked.
Right.
Versus like you're
Yeah.
trying to add stuff on later on. You're like, oh, you're like reaching here. Sort of like the Game of Thrones series, you know? It's
Yeah.
like everything was already written, so it's like everything's already interlinked.
So yeah, this one so they're getting a lot of the stories not from the game but from the books.
Which
For the show.
was surprising because I didn't know that.
I don't
it
know
was
if
a
many
book.
people do know that yet, but it was a book first.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like it when they take. I mean, like I'm excited for this because Game of Thrones was so
Mhm.
well received,
Yeah.
and this book was well received. So it's like,
Yeah. It wasn't written in English, right? It's not an English book.
yeah, it's German or something.
Norwegian maybe,
Norwegian,
or
yeah.
like I don't know, something somewhere around that area
Yeah.
of Europe.
It's a tough call because sometimes book adaptations aren't very good,
Yes. Yeah.
but Game of Thrones is so good, and hearing that Henry Cavill's a fan, so it's like he's gonna be pushing for like quality.
Yeah,
You know?
I think so. I hope so, at least.
Yeah. Also, I saw in a different article that it's not going to be the horror isn't going to be monster horror necessarily. It's going to be human horror. So it's more grounded in realism than monsters.
But there were some monsters in there because you do kind of have to have that,
No,
right?
totally. But what I'm saying is like the
More
big
focus of it.
like the big enemy isn't going to be monsters. It's going to be humans.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm stoked for that because that was sort of like Game of Thrones, where it's like people inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah, stoked. I might binge watch that one.
Yeah, I was like, it was a couple of weeks ago too. I was thinking, when are they? Because they said it was going to come out this year. I was like waiting for the trailer. When are they coming out? It's almost November, and then in the beginning, then last week.
Surprise. Yeah. Speaking of Game of Thrones, Succession. It's like the Game of Thrones real life version. It's like
Right.
so if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Succession, it's a HBO show. HBO?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an HBO show. You can get on Crave. Apparently not around the world because when we were traveling, we tried to watch it and we couldn't.
Well, if you
access it.
have HBO, you probably can.
Oh, so then how come we can access it?
Because it's they have a deal with Crave here,
Oh, okay.
so you can.
Oh, got
Crave
it.
is
Crave was
a,
the
is
distributor.
a Bell thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's what you meant about geotagging.
Yes,
It's like you
yeah.
could tell that we weren't in Canada, so we couldn't watch it.
Yeah, if HBO had their own app and
Got it.
it was available around other areas in the world, yeah, it
Then
would
you
work.
can check it out. Anyway,
It's
so
like Netflix,
right. So
but also Netflix is geotagged too, right? Certain things are not shown there.
yeah, I was trying to
So
download
if
certain
it's
episodes. I was like, oh,
so if it's Netflix own
not
show,
letting me.
you can watch them. But if it's if it's Netflix original, you can watch them. If it's anything else, it's based on the right whatever they can get property
fascinating.
or rights of in those countries.
Right.
So you'll see probably in the UK, you'll see more of the UK shows.
Right.
You won't see that here in Canada. So like that.
Yeah. So anyways, the show is about a media company, the fourth largest or third largest? The fourth.
Media fourth maybe. I don't remember actually.
All right, so it's like I'm pretty sure it's the fourth. So it's the fourth largest media company. Their family. It's about their family, and the father is going through some issues, health-related issues. So they're trying to boot him off.
Mm-hmm. This is season 1 we're talking about. So season 2 has already happened. If people have seen that, but yeah, we're talking about season 1.
Yeah, season 1. So definitely worth checking out. I love how they make these things so exciting, but at the same time it's mundane. So like yesterday's episode that we saw was they're trying to kick the dad off the company, right? A vote of no confidence.
Yeah.
But the way they made it seem was like they were trying to kill him. It seemed like one of those like Shakespearean plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like it was set in a modern
Business meeting. Yeah.
You know, and the dad was like, "Oh, this is your attempt to kill me," and then it was so close because you're like, it's about voting rights. So if he got outvoted, he would not be the leader anymore. And then like the trump card was the brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah, major spoilers for this. The trump card was the brother, and then the brother ended up siding with the father because of pressure, though.
Yeah,
he got pressured into it.
Yeah,
and then the dad was like, "This is your best shot," right? And then he's like, "You're all fired. Who voted against me?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, that was like it was almost like a war. We were watching a war, but it was like a business meeting."
Right.
I love the directors for this. This is like pro. You should definitely check it out if you're into like contemporary stuff.
Oh yeah. I think it was a huge show. It came out during the last season
Like what?
of Game of Thrones. Like it was
around that time.
Yeah. Like when the first season was out. Yeah.
Yeah. So better than Game of Thrones? I'd say so. I like it. I'm really into like business stuff.
Well, if you take
so-
into the whole consideration of where Game of Thrones ended, sure. If we don't know how Succession will end, right? So,
Right. True. Yeah.
but at the moment, it's really good. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? How we don't realize your education is how you're going to see the world. It like sets you up for framing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like a lot of the stuff for a long time there, because I had only recently joined the like contemporary working world, and like prior to that, I thought everyone saw the world the same way I had seen it because I was in business school, so everyone thinks the same way, right? Only to like join contemporary society and be like, oh, not everyone sees it in a business lens.
Yeah.
You know, and then it got me thinking, like, if I was a doctor, what would my lens be? Or like an engineer, what would my lens be? You know, every time we talk about, the reason why I like Succession is because I always look at life through a business lens.
Right.
You know, so like for me, it's very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I wonder if like, as an engineer, you're like, you find that stuff boring. You know what I mean? It's like, it kind of like, you're not presented with the full information of like why things are a certain way. But if we watch like an engineering show, you'd have more of a leg up than me. You know?
Yeah.
I think we take for granted our education.
Oh yeah.
You know, we don't realize what an impact our education has played on not only the way we see the world, but who we are.
Yeah.
You know?
So like I think in that way it does come into like how much more you may appreciate something.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
I can remember there's not many shows that talk about engineering or things like that. So there was one movie that did. Do you remember the Tom Hardy movie that was he's just in the car driving?
No.
And it's all about taking the phone. Like it was the only people who were talking to was on the call. And that one, and he was like a concrete guy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about what they
was a good
need, and I
movie.
knew what he was talking about.
Right.
So that made me like it more.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
But I saw it. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
But
I know. It would
See, fascinating, right?
Yeah.
See, like you take it for granted. We don't even think about like how our program. There's this book called The Culture Code, and what it says is like the thing that I took the most from the book is our culture is our first bit of framing. Mm-hmm. Like framing is like
how you see the world, right?
How you see the world. So like, but like to put it into like a psychology, because I remember this example from psych. It's like framing is like your descriptor for an object. Right. So like you can frame it as we had a 20% loss or we had an 80% increase. They mean the exact same thing, but it's how you take a loss or a gain. Right. And you frame it according to the person that you're in front of. Right. So it's like, if I want you to think negatively, I'm like, oh, he had a 20% loss. Like, damn, bro. But then if you're like, I want to make it like positive. Oh, we had an 80% increase this year. Oh, great.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like which end, because 80-20, they're both equal 100. But it's like, how am I going to present the information to you? So that's what framing is. So culture essentially is our first bit of framing. You know, how you're brought up is your framing to this world. And like, I think that we take for granted education in terms of that, because our education is our framing.
Right.
You know, where you go to school frames you for the future. You know, what you learn frames you for the future. And to put this more like related back to my experiences, when we went on the Egypt trip, I was asking like so many economic questions, you know, and then I had to tell the tour guide, I was like, I studied this in school. That's why I'm like asking you all of these like economics related questions versus like, how were the pyramids built? It was just like, why would they have created the pyramids? What source of income is related to the development of them? You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like very different questions, but it's like, that was my framing.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wanted to add like it just is a random thing that like I read yesterday. So like we all see like oh this movie made $1 million or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then we think movies that have big budgets will go very like profit wise they'll make a lot of money,
Right.
right?
Right.
So like, like the Avengers ones and like being about 200 to 300 million dollars
But
to
you
make.
had to pay back your cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though they made $1 billion, it's like profit wise not as high.
Totally.
So that's something that's not really talked about. So what I
Totally.
wanted to connect that to was Joker.
Oh, okay.
Joker
Cool.
came out as being now the most profitable comic book movie.
But how much did it cost to make?
62 million.
Right. And how many did it pull in?
950 million.
Right. But so you're like, oh, wow, it's the most profitable. But framing again,
Yeah.
it's like, well, how much did it cost to make the Marvel movie?
200
And then how much did they make?
billion.
So like you minus them. You're talking about percentage wise?
Yeah, no, profit wise.
Profit
From
percentage or profit? Profit
Profit in general, like from like based on how much it cost to make.
Yeah.
They're removing that and how much it made above that.
Right.
So
it's percentage?
right now, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, Joker has become the most profitable
Relative
book.
to its cost.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's the framing. It's
Yeah.
like Marvel made way more money, right? 200 million, and it costs.
Well, profit-wise,
they made 1
no.
billion. No.
Yeah,
it's
profit-wise, no.
800 million.
No, profit wise, no. They're saying profit wise.
Okay.
Profit wise, Joker made is.
That's what I'm asking. Is
has-
it profit percentage or is it profit margin? So is it like the actual number?
You're talking about like making 950 million?
Yeah.
No. Profit
Okay, wait. How much did Joker make?
950 million.
Okay, and how much did
Let's just say it's
A
a
billion.
billion.
950 to a billion? Okay, but it cost them 200
Yeah.
to make, and then it cost Joker.
62 million.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what
the
I'm saying.
cost was way less. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So this is.
Well, it's still percentage, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah,
I thought it's a mix of both. Yeah, I was
That's why I
like,
never
wait,
took
what?
finance.
What?
Yeah, that's why
I was
I
like,
never took
yeah,
finance.
200
There you
million
go.
is higher cost.
No, right. But I was saying the difference.
Okay.
I was trying to calculate the difference in my
Okay,
head.
okay.
So the difference is still higher.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like this
Oh,
R-rated
I understand.
movie
So
has become
in terms of gross, in terms of gross
Profits.
gross revenue.
revenue. Sure.
So revenue is how much came in. Profit is revenue minus cost.
Well, they were using the word profit.
No, I know they're different
Okay.
though.
I know
So,
they're
like,
different, yeah.
So like revenue, even though
You added in. It's not.
even though Marvel Avengers made more revenue,
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
You're not removing
Joker
the.
made more profit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fascinating.
So like it's interesting to see that Joker ended up being an R-rated movie,
Yeah.
and minus the fact that
Most profitable.
I've heard they're not in China yet.
Ooh, fascinating.
China's another like possible if they ever release in there another 200 million.
What's fascinating though is like it pulled in less revenue but made more profit.
Yeah.
So what this is telling us is it doesn't
This is
it's not about how much you put into a movie. It's about what
Yeah.
the movie's about. It's more about story
Yeah.
than the
Yeah,
quality.
these are
It's quality, not the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
quantity.
these are studios' dream projects.
Yeah, true.
This is what they want.
It cost us so little but made us so much back, of
Yes,
course. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So it's very interesting to see that Joker. I mean, it's,
What this
I
really
like
tells
it.
me is stories drive sales.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what we've all been trying to ask for, and
Like we want a good story, not just like a wow. But I mean, Avengers was a pretty good story though.
this is a good story. But again, I don't think it pulled in enough, like people that are outside of who know
Marvel's,
comics,
yeah,
like, who
right.
know about comics, I think.
So like the Marvel movie, even though it made a lot, it was like geared towards comic book lovers.
Yeah.
Whereas Joker was more of a psychological thriller, which
Can be for a lot of people.
yeah, totally. You didn't have to watch all the previous movies to get this one movie.
Yeah.
You could just watch it as a standalone movie about a person having a mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
fascinating.
thought it was interesting to that just came out, that being the most profitable and being that it's R-rated too.
Did
which
it
I
did it
find
beat out
fascinating.
did it beat out Titanic? No.
The movie? No.
Oh. How much did Titanic make?
I think that is, they also do that based on revenue, I think. I don't know if they say profit, but I don't know
But
how much.
no, but Avengers beat out Titanic, right?
Avengers did beat out Titanic, yeah.
Actually, Avatar beat out Titanic, right?
I
think I heard that. Like, but they're both James Cameron.
Yeah,
So.
they were both like 1 and 2. I don't know which way it was, but yeah.
Yeah, and then Marvel beat out both of them.
Yep.
Yeah, as the most revenue-generating movie of all time.
Yes. Yeah.
But didn't they try and cheat? They tried to re-release it to get more revenue.
But so did Avatar. It's
Yeah,
not, no one's cheating.
No, but what I'm saying is like Marvel didn't get re-released.
It did.
Oh, it did? Avengers got re-released in theaters?
I think it did. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, they both did it.
Oh.
It's part of the game.
I don't remember that.
I think they did. Yeah, I remember.
Because it's so recent. Why would you re-release Marvel?
It's not recent. It's been some time.
Really? Oh,
feel
well, whatever. But yeah, so dope. See, I love that. There you go. It's like, it's all the devil's in the details, as they say. You know, it's like you gotta break down what everything really means.
Yeah.
You know, because like on like the superficial and naive level, everyone's like, oh, it's the most profitable. You're like, oh man, they must have made like $75 billion. But it's like, no, it's not the most revenue generating.
Yeah,
it's
like
just
how
the
much
most
did it
profitable.
cost? Like all that. There's so many things involved. Yeah.
But see, like if you hadn't studied that, how would you know?
Yeah.
I truly believe that like business rules the world. It does.
No,
Actually,
yeah.
hands down, it does. Because I had this, I remember.
I mean, it's money. It's all about money, right?
Money,
So
right?
it's
Yeah.
money's business.
I remember having this conversation back when I was studying marketing, and my family was over, and I was like, oh man, I'm having this revelation that business rules everything. Everything's about business, blah blah. And then but they were studying mathematics, right? And they're like, well, if you want to look at, everyone always says that, like, you know, my field of study rules everything in this world, because that's like your perspective, right? And they were saying like, well, I study math, so technically you could say mathematics is everything.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on what you're studying, because like you have that bias of like, my degree is the best degree. You know, I would say I would agree with them. Like looking at it now, I would agree with them. Like mathematics is the nature of everything, but what rules everything is business still. You know, because that's our nature. It's like trade is business.
Yeah. That adds.
It's everything.
They need mathematics.
You need no, but like even on like without mathematics, you still like you can calculate things mathematically, like future
Without
projections.
mathematics?
Yeah, like I'm saying mathematics. You know, they say like mathematics is the language of the gods.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
You never heard that?
I don't,
That term?
Don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, scientists say that math is the language of gods, but the reason why is because you can like convert everything to mathematics.
Right.
Like everything can be a mathematical equation. Right.
I was just saying in the sense of numbers, because business revolves around numbers also. So.
True. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
That's what I was just saying.
But I
was viewing it that way.
I meant more of like the universe is based on math.
No, I know. Yeah.
Right.
But like that's what I was viewing math in that sense.
Or viewing the universe through math. It's probably more accurate.
Okay.
Because math is the language we choose to describe the universe. Right? But think about it. Like,
Yeah.
How do you figure out the propulsion of whatever, you know? How do you describe that future event? Mathematics.
Right.
But what I'm saying is business rules everything we do, because everything is based on trade. You're trading time, trading energy.
And that trade stuff is calculated by math.
It's true too. Yeah, so that's what I said.
Yeah.
Math is the universe, but what rules everything is business. Yeah. Anyways, so that was our nerd recap. Is there anything? No movies next week, right?
I don't know. Like I haven't really
Charlie's
looked.
Angels.
I don't want to watch that.
Really? I love it. I love spy movies. I love those like.
Yeah, but
badass
it's so okay.
movies.
Talking about that, it's more like, okay, I get it. You want to do, like, I do want to see that, like, you know, good female lead roles and things like that, right? I guess I know what, like, I see what they're trying to do, but it's like,
Women empowerment.
yeah,
Yeah, they did that with Ocean's 8.
yeah, but I agree with all that. But I'm like, why can't we have like it's like a different story? You're rehashing a story.
Oh, I see.
That
what you're
story
saying.
done for before. It's
Right,
like
right.
no. What I mean by that is like
We're
I'm not.
running out of ideas.
I'm not knocking that out. I'm just saying that.
Why are we revamping it?
Yeah, I'm saying like why don't we give like good female lead like roles, like good
Right.
stories for them? Like you're rehashing
Sure.
a story,
Yeah.
so you're basically doing half the job.
Right. Why don't you just create a really good story from scratch?
Yeah.
And then like really try and put everything in it, because if you start from
Like I don't mind if it's all female characters or whatever. That's fine, but as long as
Right.
the story is.
but if you revamp something, you have the constraints of that revamp, right? Because you're like,
Yeah.
well, this person has this character and this character. Like you have constraints.
Yeah. No.
What you're saying is like have no constraints, start from scratch.
Yeah.
You create the box rather than fitting
But then
to the box.
exactly. But what I'm also trying to say is that like it's half the job. It's like
Okay.
you want to have these people all in a female role or whatever, but you're doing half the job in the sense of, oh, there's already a story. Let's just switch all the characters and make them all female.
Right.
So you're
No,
not
but they
even,
were
like-
always female. Charlie's Angels was always female.
Oh yeah. I'm connecting it to
Ocean's 8.
Oceans.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was like because of the female leads, right? That's what I was thinking. So that is
Right,
something or that was kind of original at the time, and it did well.
Ocean's 11.
No, Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So like, that's fine as a reboot, but it's not something I'm into.
Yeah,
As a
I
movie,
hear you're
so-
saying like stop being lazy is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Creatively lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of both. It was like trying to say like you're revamping something that's already there, but then
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah.
Well, actually,
I prefer new stories.
sorry, total segue, but Joe Rogan on the he was on the Chris Ryan, like they're in a podcast together. Chris Ryan's like, oh yeah, this person, oh they also have a podcast, and Joe Rogan's like, everyone's got a podcast, and I heard that in the car, I was like, we got a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, damn, everyone does have a podcast. But what I'm thinking, because I was like, why does everyone have a podcast? Why is it so simple for everyone to have a podcast? Because a podcast is just a captured conversation.
Yeah.
People have conversations all the time. Remember?
But
like,
we've been
years ago-
trying
No,
to
right.
do
But
this for
this is what I'm going to segue into. Like, remember how long I've been saying, like, if we just could we go on walks and we'd have this exact same conversation?
This is-
And
yeah.
I always say to you,
Why don't we
just
record this?
Because then this would just be this literally a podcast, us walking and having the conversation.
Yeah.
We should just record it and then we just call it a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
Because like everyone's having conversations.
Yeah.
But like there's this like necessity, there's this like need in us to want a legacy, right? To have something that lives on beyond us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I feel like, so like as I was filming for the trip,
Mm-hmm.
Tara was like, oh, but are you here in this moment? And I'm like, I'm actually probably more in this moment than you're in this moment, because I have to pay attention to the moment to see what's important about this moment and then capture that moment.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it seems like, it's like, well, why can't you just have a conversation without recording it? No, it makes it better because you have to like focus on like what is it I'm trying to say here? Because like, even though we did have conversations on those walks, there'd be like a lot of times where we just silently walk together,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but there's no silence in this podcast.
Right.
So you're making it better than it is if you were just enjoying the moment,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, I don't think creatively capturing something diminishes from the quality of that experience, so long as you're fully immersed in that experience. Like, I would say that, like,
Right.
I'm immersed in this experience with you, having this podcast, having this conversation.
Mhm.
We're just capturing it and calling it a podcast, you know? But, like, we have this incessant need for, like, legacy or something to live on beyond us, right? Because, like, why can't you just enjoy it and let it go? It's like, well, because then I could record it and people can enjoy it in the future,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know?
True.
Yeah. I feel like that's with all creative pursuits, and that's why I'm obsessed with producing creative things, because
Mhm.
like it'll live on beyond me. Because even if I'm dead, people can still listen to this podcast, you know, as long as the digital cloud's not dead, you know. Even though the trip is over, we can relive the trip by making videos of the trip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I went back and rewatched those other world tours that we made, and like all these memories got flooded back, and you're like, oh, I forgot all about that. Oh yeah, that
Mhm.
thing, and then this thing happened after that, you know, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
But if you didn't have those videos, it's like they would just be in the ether. You'd be like, remember that time we did that thing? But I don't remember what we did. We just did that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Especially me.
True, yeah.
Yeah, don't
Yes,
forget.
yeah, true. Because you like to let things go. But yeah, everyone should have a podcast. Not that we listen to everyone's podcast, because like I went to go try to watch like other people's vlogs, and I was just like, nah, I can't do it, because it's not my life, right?
Well, yeah, it depends, right? Not everything's for everyone, right?
Totally. And I'm sure like if you watch my travel videos, you're like, oh, I can't watch it, because it's not you, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like I'm just authentically expressing my experience.
Mm-hmm.
the best I can creatively,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. That's all we can do, I guess.
Yeah. And then people who jive with it, jive with it. So if you're listening to this, kudos to you. You're awesome.
Yeah.
And if you're not listening to this, haha, you'll never know that we hate you. Just
Oh.
kidding.
Jeez. Okay.
But yeah, all right. So until next week, maybe there'll be a movie. I'm not too sure.
I have no idea what's going on.
Unless I can rope Vish into watching Charlie's Angels. Doesn't that come out next week?
I think it does.
Oh, there you go. It's gonna be good, yeah.
Disney Plus comes out next week.
Oh, okay. Cool.
There's a Star Wars show on there.
Oh yeah, Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, yes.
Bah.
Okay.
You know one thing. All right, so last thing. You know one thing that this is really having this podcast really made me more comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing my voice. You know, like people like they record themselves like, ew, that's what I sound like.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no, you've never heard that before.
Oh yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, yeah.
But like listening because I make these cuts and stuff, right? It's
Yeah.
like made me very comfortable with being like, oh, that's my voice. You know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was more like fascinated by how I sound.
Too, right? It's what I'm saying. Yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's my voice. Like, what? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how everyone else hears me.
But which is really weird. It's like to think that we wake up in our bodies. Like everyone's so like, okay, my first person experience, if you're listening to this, you're having your own first person experience. We're all having our first person experiences.
Mhm.
But it's weird that like we're all having a first person experience. I'll never know what it's like to be you, Vish. But
Yeah.
your reality is just as real as my reality.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're both just as real and they're different means that no reality is real. There's no such thing as reality. It cancels each other out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. Sure.
Because if they're both not real, then what is real?
Nothing.
Exactly. What is the sound of one hand
One
clapping?
cancels out the other. It's maths.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing a proof in mathematics,
Mm.
if left doesn't equal right, then it's not a real proof.
Yeah.
So if my experience is not the exact same as your experience, left doesn't equal right, there is no truth.
But
There
have
is
you
no
have you
reality.
heard, 1 + 1 is
2?
is
Oh, sorry.
11.
One.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
What was his name?
No. Sorry. Yeah. 1 + 1 equals 1.
Oh.
Or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yes.
1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. 1 + 1 equals 1.
Yeah.
Is Terrence Howard. Check that out. Trippy mind blow. His reality is definitely not the same as our reality. There you go, though. Mathematics rules everything we do.
Mm.
Mathematics is everything we do.
Yeah.
But economics rules everything we do. That's a new slogan right there.
Okay.
Quick maths.
Wait, is that the sound?
Remember that song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
Yeah.
1 + 1 is 2. What did it? I don't
I
remember.
don't know.
that
Whatever.
phrase.
Go check it out.
Anyways.
Till next time. Same bad time, same bad channel. Have a good week.
Peace.
Bye.